What's up, ladies and gents, Noli here. Welcome to another Payday 2 video. This one is specifically aimed at those of you who have just picked up the game for Xbox One or PlayStation 4. It's set to be released in North America in just a couple of hours, so it felt like the perfect time to give some early guides and tips to those of you who are new to the series. I'm sure many of you will be experienced with Payday, having played Payday the Heist or possibly Payday 2 when it came out on the Xbox 360 or PlayStation 3. However, things are very different now when it comes to leveling, getting into the game, earning money, and getting those all-important loot drops to make your experience that bit more enjoyable. So hopefully, I'm going to be able to give you a guide and a walkthrough on how best to start off with the game and develop into the sort of Payday late game around about level 60, 70, where you are really starting to unlock your skills, take control of your own heists, and hopefully enjoy the game to its fullest. Now, when you first pick up Payday 2, you're going to be asked whether you want to enter the safe house. This is going to act as a relatively simple tutorial, teaching you some basics and important controls. Now, this is a very simplistic tutorial. It really doesn't get into what the game is all about and what you're going to want to start doing as soon as you're in there. Now, there are a lot of complexities within Payday that this video is by no means going to teach you. Those are things that you're likely going to come to understand yourself. However, I'm hoping to give you the absolute best start, especially in leveling, getting ahead of the competition and making sure you're up there with the first ranks leveling up and doing those deathwish heists as early as you possibly can. When you're looking to pick your first heist, it's important not only to look for a heist that's going to help you to level up, but also one that's going to teach you elements of the game that are really very important. Now, I'll advise most of you, check out the bank heist, give it a go, see whether this game is what you're expecting, whether the controls that you're liking, whether you're enjoying stealth and loud elements of the gameplay. But once you've done that, and you want to grind through the early first levels in order to unlock the all-important skills that are going to allow you to try out bigger and better heists and much more difficult settings. The heist I'm going to recommend to you guys is the one you're seeing on screen right now. It is the 4 stores heist. You can do this up to overkill difficulty using a pretty sneaky strategy, which I'm not going to recommend you repeat too many times. This is just going to allow you to hit maybe level 30 early on. All you need is a single point in the ECM skill. You're going to want to enter the heist with very low visibility, and you're going to want to walk on over to the ATM and crack it open with that ECM jammer. Now, this is going to immediately allow you to progress to the end of the heist. You're going to want to hide out or potentially explore the areas you can, not only developing some knowledge of the stealth skills and stealth contextually within the game, but also allowing you to potentially pick up some more spare change around the buildings, and also to pick up very important gauge packs, which can allow you to later on unlock attachments for your weapons. Not only is completing this heist going to net you roughly $130,000 worth of spending change, it's also going to get you roughly 45,000 points of experience, multiple level ups early on, and all for maybe 2-3 minutes work. After that though, I'm not going to recommend you do this mission too many times over. This is for a couple of reasons. First of all, that would get boring, but also, probably more importantly, there are diminishing returns when you overuse a single mission. You don't want to do that. You can already see, I think, from the gameplay I'm showing, that I've got massive diminishing returns on this mission. So, moving on to that, there are other very easy and enjoyable starting missions that you can play on your own or with friends. Notably, the strategy is so simple to do on your own. In fact, I would rather do it on my own, but missions such as Mall Crasher and indeed Ukrainian Job are very completable missions with a small group of friends, done with a sort of semi-stealth, semi-loud feel overall, and that can push you all the way up to maybe level 35, level 40. Before I move on any further with this guide, I'm going to point all you guys to a number of really important skills you might want to consider for your builds. It's worth noting that when you're doing a build early on in Payday, you shouldn't really specialize too far in one tree, because a lot of the trees have very important starting skills. So Mastermind, you have Endurance to allow you to sprint for much longer. Moving on to Enforcer, you have Transporter, which is so important for most missions that involve the carrying of bags. Similarly, in Ghosts, you're going to have sprinter and fast hands doing both of the above mentioned things. Those 4 skills are incredibly important, if not essential, to every single build you make in Payday. Another part of leveling up and gaining experience is speccing into perk decks. Now, these are sort of augmentations of your skills that you have existing. Now, it's very important to get skills in those perk decks as quickly as possible. Now, there are a number of different perk decks for different playstyles. There's, of course, one for whether you're the sneaky type, there's one for the tankier, and there's one more based around dodging bullets. From my own experience, the absolute best perk deck is Rogue, focused entirely around dodging, which means if you see a guy going into a heist wearing nothing but a suit, do not immediately kick him and assume that he's messing around or made some sort of mistake. He's probably running some form of dodge build, which can be just as powerful, if not more powerful, than your tanky combined tactical vest build, so keep that in mind. Okay, so we're roughly level 40, you've got loads of points to mess around with right now. There's one place I'm going to really recommend you put them before doing anything else, and that is in the ECM Jammer skills. Now, this might seem slightly strange. Of course, the ECM Jammer is an amazing stealth tool, so if that's your focus, that's where you should be looking anyway. However, there's a strategy that you're seeing on screen right now to allow you to get as many loot drop cards as possible. Overkill, this has been in their game since it came out and they've made no attempt to change it, so it's just assumed that card farming is a totally decent strategy, and this is the best way of doing it. Either you get the skill that allows you to carry with you 2 ECM jammers, or you just get the maximum time on 1 ECM jammer. You run into the jewelry store, placing the ECM down, stopping anyone from phoning the police, and then you quickly steal 3 bags of jewelry. This is of course on the normal jewelry store heist you saw me buy, and then immediately run out. Now, my fastest time I've ever done was 29 seconds. If you're doing this in a team of 3, which is probably optimal if you've got a bunch of friends who are up for a bit of card farming, then you can do it in roughly 20, sometimes sub 20. So you can do this incredibly quickly. The only things holding you back really are loading screens, which are slightly longer on the console versions of the game. However, it's still an incredibly efficient way of farming for cards. With these cards, not only can you get awesome, incredible looking cosmetics, but you can also pick up some experience, you can pick up some money in the form of money and experience card drops, and I'd say most importantly as a new player, you can pick up attachments. Now, because this game is so much bigger than Payday 2 was at launch, there are so many attachments to pick up. You can only get 2 of one type at once, fortunately, so you can't just keep finding the same thing over and over again. However, some weapons are thoroughly made by the attachments. And especially on the Xbox version, where I found that stability and accuracy are that bit more important, simply because the controls are a little more difficult to grasp than the PC version, you're going to want to maximize this stability and accuracy wherever possible, and you need attachments for that. So it's important to grind a few of these to make certain weapons work. You'll notice the Car 4, it doesn't stand out as an amazing weapon. Many people consider it the absolute best. The Locomotive 12 gauge, the Bayonetti Akimbo pistols, they are made by attachments, and so you really want to be on the lookout for these, and the best way of doing that is this jewelry store technique. Okay, so now we're in a bit of a difficult spot. We've decided to respec back, either moving further into the stealth skill tree, or you're looking for a loud build, either a stealthy dodge one, or one more focused around tanking up with shotguns. Those are my 2 primary recommendations, especially when you try out the console versions. There are some weapons that really stand out to me on this version above how they perform on PC. Akimbo weapons, especially the Bayonetti 9s, they're very strong on Xbox, as is the LMG, strangely enough. The LMG class, which is generally considered very weak, because it's that bit harder to aim, the LMG with all its burst and spray fire is incredibly strong. On top of that, explosives, also great options. The GL40 always been one of the strongest weapons in Payday. Great ways to deal with special enemies such as shields, tasers, and bulldozers. So you do want to spec and work around these weapons wherever possible. But now you're looking for a heist to do. Now, if you're a stealth man, you got some pretty good options. I would recommend first and foremost, try out the Diamond. It's a good moderate level difficulty. Then when you're moving up to level 60, 70, take a look at Shadow Raid, and probably even better, Big Bank. Now, these heists can both be speed run, especially when you're playing with a full team. If you understand the ECM speedrun strategies, very similar to what you see on Jewelry Store. Now, it's not the most enjoyable way to enjoy the game, however, it is a reasonable way to level up if that is your goal. Otherwise, just work around these two missions and stealth them and hopefully enjoy it. Another great option for stealth is framing frame. It's really as hard as stealth comes in the game right now. Give that one a go as well. However, if you're like me and you like to go loud wherever possible, well, I'd say your moderate heist focus should be on the White Christmas heist. Now, this is an unexpected one, really. However, not only is this heist soloable on Overkill, simply because it's a massive map and you can train enemies around, it's going to introduce you to slightly more difficult combat. It also has the benefit of being a fantastic money heist if you're playing with a full team, bearing in mind you can consistently steal bags of cocaine, and as I said, it's not the world's most difficult heist. So not only is it great for experience and leveling up, it's also great for building up those money pools and buying up more skills, weapons, and attachments. However, that is absolutely not the best heist to level up, but it is very good for its overall difficulty. The best heist, if you ask me, for a loud player is Hoxton Breakout. That's been relatively undisputed for a long time. Not only is it a brilliant heist, you should really enjoy it the first few times you play it, it also is completable reasonably quickly and has a ridiculous payload of money and experience. Now, as I've already said, variety is the spice of life, and you don't want to overdo this heist. Things may get monotonous, but there's a few more reasons why this one is so good. It's got great interactions with keycards, meaning you don't have to spend lots of your hard-earned cash on assets, which can be very helpful for during the leveling up process. On top of that, you can do it solo. Now, I wouldn't recommend this to everybody, especially not new players, but if you're competent with a very good dodge build, I managed to do this heist solo with 2 AI teammates up to level 65, I believe I was, when this gameplay footage was recorded. So it's not too hard either, and it's an incredibly fun and indeed rewarding heist. So there we go, those are some of my main recommendations. Like I say, focus on variety wherever possible. While those are the best to level up, not always necessarily the best ones to get money on. You might want to try out Framing Frame. That can also be done quite quickly and is a great mission because it has a real hybrid feel. You know, your stealth guys can really shine on the second and third day, whereas you need your heavily armored fighters on the first day. Similarly, Hotline Miami, loads of fun, high octane heist. It may not have the same returns as Hoxton Breakout does, and it may be slightly harder, but it's certainly a brilliant experience for a more advanced player. However, beyond that, there is one final focus. That is the Deathwish difficulty. Now, as a new player, you don't want to be thinking about this for at least the first 80 levels, I would say. In fact, you can't think about it, because I do not believe it is unlocked till at least level 70. However, when it comes to Deathwish, there are still some entry-level heists. You can still try out those early heists you were doing. Jewelry Store, Ukrainian Job, Mall Crasher, indeed 4 stores. However, do keep in mind at all times, Deathwish has a slight spin on it. So whereas Ukrainian Job, you could often run in with your C4, shape charge and blow up those safes, now you're going to be slightly disappointed because those safes are Titan safes and they're not going to be broken through so easily. So do keep in mind things change over into Deathwish. You're going to need a lot of experience not only within the heist but also on the difficulty itself. Watch out for the new Skulldozer enemy. One important thing as a new player when it comes to spotting out specials, shields, tasers, cloakers and bulldozers need to be dealt with. The best way to deal with the majority of them is through explosives. Explosives can easily destroy shields. They can easily blow the faceplate off bulldozers, exposing that face and a ridiculously high multiplier. And of course, tasers, they're only about as susceptible as the cloakers are to explosives, but generally the large damage and most importantly knockback might knock them off their feet and stop them from responding to you. However, there are lots of counter skills within the game you may want to consider, especially against tasers, which are unlocked later on and may give you an easier job over on the deathwish difficulty. However guys, that's it for this video. That's the order in which I recommend you take a look at heists, some of my absolute favourites when it comes to leveling up and how I've leveled up reasonably quickly on Payday Crimewave Edition for the Xbox One. All of these strategies are applicable to both Xbox and to PlayStation, and indeed to PC. I'm sure many of you are very used to these strategies. I wish you all the best of luck tonight when you pick up the game, those of you in North America. And hopefully I'll be able to heist with you guys in the coming days. Thanks a lot for watching. Get out there, farm those loot cards, don't do the heist 250 times like I did. I think I was starting to lose my mind last night. Thanks for watching guys, I'll see you on the next one.